how many days that person is going to liquidity. That means a liquid consideration is very important. For example, if I go to investing 1 lakh rupees today, that is completely freezed. So investors can definitely, there is the person who disappointed, and that may not be convertible into cash immediately. So that person immediately, it is possible that we can provide that possibility of things to liquid. So as a investor, always think that, if you are going to investing money, so how to draw, how to withdraw money after 1 year or 6 months, or if any case of emergency, that is the important concept. So that person as an investor is going to looking about that investment liquidities. So that is the investors' liquidity needs and financial goals based upon their interest and based upon their urgency, or based upon that their investment categories. So investment decision making process, how to make an investment decision process. So here we have to identifying investment opportunities. So how to invest the opportunities here, analyzing the potential investment avenues. So how many avenues are there? How many platforms are there? What are the potential investment project, or the activity, or else the project are going to be there. So we have to analyze that investment opportunities and identify it, and you can analyze it. Then that is the investment decision making process, and evaluating investment options, assessing the financial feasibility and risks. So we always you have to apply that standard deviation. That is how much risk is going to be there. Risk nothing but standard deviation. So then assessing how much, what is the percentage of risk is going to be there, maybe 5%, 2%, 3%, how much is going to be there. That is we are going to calculate by the applying the standard deviation in the investment decision options. Selecting the best investment. So if you're going to investing money in different portfolios, you have to choose that one that aligns with the goals and expected returns. So if you're going to investing 1 lakh rupees in a different platforms, portfolios, maybe 20,000, 50,000, and 30,000 in 3 different portfolios, which is going to giving more, or which is going to reaching to your goal. So that we have to expect. So based on that, we have to select the best investment option, and choosing that aligns the goals and expected returns. And implementation, allocating funds and executing the investment. So we have to allocate the funds. So how much? For example, are you ready to investing money? Then how much you are going to investing? You don't think, if you're going to assuming that I want to invest 20%, 30%, 50%, that agencies that must come true. So based upon the 20%, for example, if they are going to investing, if you have a 5 lakhs rupees in your account, you want to divert 20% into one portfolio. The 20% means out of 20% is a 5 lakh rupees. 5 2 1 lakh rupees you are going to investing in a particular project. For example, you are going to investing 30,000 in some other portfolio. %, out of 5 lakhs, you are going to investing 1,50,000. You are going to investing or not. So that allocation of funds, we are going to investing 50%. That means almost 2.5 lakhs you are going to investing. That you have to implement. That is the decision making process. Otherwise, the decision making may not be fulfilled in the investment decision. And monitoring and review. So periodically, day to day, week to week, monthly, month to month, and quarterly, half yearly, yearly, we have to periodically reviewing the performance and making the adjustments. So if you are going to if you're not going to getting any returns in a particular project, you can wait up to 6 months or 3 months. After that, you can take it back, because if you're going to investing, nothing used to investing over there. So you can see, you can give it some time to whether that is going to be giving returns or not. So in that way, we have to monitor and we have to review that decision making process. That is true or not, that is correct or not, whether that is going to be giving any fruitfulness or not. So we have to assess based upon that investment categories. And investment decisions are crucial for wealth creation. Investment decisions are crucial for wealth creation, business growth, and financial stability. So investment decisions always is crucial. So because if you are going to investing money means once or twice we have to analyze it, we have to expertise, we must have expertise it. We must take that previous data. Can gather that previous data, whether how much the company's growth is there over the past 5 years, 10 years, and what is now position. Depends upon that you are going to take the decision. So that's the reason it is crucial for wealth creation. Until unless if you don't know that what is the works companies performance, you cannot invest and you cannot create the wealth and business growth. Even that you can found a great you want to get a business growth, then you must see that how did you invest the money, and financial stability, how you are going to stabilizing your financials, whether you're going to investing in one particular organization, are you putting for 6 months or 6 months 1 year, then what is your return growth? Is there any 5%, 7%, 9%, 11% like that? Then we can see whether there is a stability, or else if you are going to invest first year you got 5%, the second year you got 3%, another is 2%. That means there is no financial stability. So as an investor, you are going to losing your investment. If you are going to thoroughly understand about the company's performance and over the past 5 years or something. A well-structured investment strategy helps in maximizing returns while maximizing the risk. So what is the maximizing or minimizing? So if you're going to maximize the risk, nothing but we have to minimize the risk. So if you always we always you can see the structured investment strategy. So plans are different than the strategy. So always investment structure always must be structural, that must be helps to maximize the returns. And also while minimize, because if you don't minimize the risk, if you're going to maximize the risk, nothing use. So we can always look about how to maximize the returns. That depends upon your investment. If, for example, you're investing 1 lakh rupees today, then how to maximize it. So if the company is going to collapsing, that you must have a minimum risk. You can ask at least 20%, 30% is considerable. But if you're going to have a 70%, 80%, the risk is there, then that is not a good strategy to invest the money. And a proper analysis, risk assessment, and strategic planning ensure successful investment outcomes. So proper analysis must be important. Proper analysis is very important for the investor. So as an investor, he always looks about, he must looks about the proper analysis and the risk assessment. You can assess the risks. So how much 12%, 15%, 1%, 2%, how much risk could be there, and what is the strategic planning of the company as the investors to ensure the successful investment outcomes. So if you want to make a successful investment outcomes, you must have a successful strategic planning. Now, investment evaluation techniques. Let's see that what are the investment techniques are there. Investment evaluation techniques. Now, what is the investment evaluation techniques? Investment evaluation techniques helps business and investors analyze the viability and profitability of an investment before committing capital. So if you want to commit a capital, how much you are going to investing, then you must know that techniques, what kind of techniques you required. How, if you don't know proper techniques, how can you evaluate whether that returns are going to giving or not? So as investment evaluation techniques, that must helps business and investors to analyze the viability. That means how much they can bear it and how much they are going to making the profitability of an investment before committing capital. These techniques assess the financial returns and the risks and the time value of money to ensure optimal decision making. So, if you are going to taking a proper decisions thoroughly, then you are going to taking optimal decision. That means if you are going to getting always returns, everything, you are taking the optimal decision. So, if you are going to always taking getting the minus value of your investments, or else nothing important of the particular settlement, then there is no use of financial use of the applying the techniques. So now we have DCFs are there, discounted cash flows techniques are there. So what are the discounted cash flow techniques? Now we can see net present value. What is the net present value? Why it is going to be helpful? Net present value helps determine whether an investment is profitable by discounting future cash flows to their present value. That is known as net present value. What is today? What is the net present today of the particular asset? So how much you are going to investing today? So net present helps determine whether an investment is profitable by discounting future cash flows to their present value. So that we are going to applying the formula NPV is equal to sigma CT by 1 plus R power of T minus CO. So where as per the formula, CT is equal to cash inflow in the present T. So R is equal to discount rate, required rate of return. So how much you want, for example, 5%, 10%, 20%, how much? There is a discount rate, and T is equal to number of periods, for example, for 1 year, or the 2 years or 3 years. How many years you want to invest your money? And C naught is equal to initial investment. How much you are going to investing today? So if you are going to investing money as a 5 lakh rupees from your pocket, you can consider the other 3 things also is there. But the first one is that how much investment is going to be there, and how many years for your investing, and what is the cash flow is going to be there for the period of time. Then you can also check whether our investment is good or not. If NPO, net present value, is greater than 0, so then accept the investment decision. For example, greater than 0, nothing but you are going to getting plus values, positive values, not negative values. So we can accept the investment. And if for net present value is equal to less than the 0, then we can the investment decision. Because if you are going to investing money over the period, there is no returns. So if you don't know, if you don't have the returns, then what is that? So that is it, that gives the result, that is going to reject, given the reject investments. So if you are going to investing 1 lakh rupees, 1 lakh rupees, even though you are not going to getting, maybe that may be 1 lakh 40,000 or 1 lakh 30,000 something. And if NPV is equal to 0, so the investment neither gains or nor loses value. So as a net present value is equals to your investment, that means there is no returns, or else something is there that is equals to returns. So the investment neither gains nor loses value, because if that asset value is going to increase, you can get the value of the particular product. If you don't get investment decision process, if you're going to bringing always something than the unusual, that investment neither gains or not. So how much that we are going to losing it. Now, internal rate of return is the one of the discounting methods. So internal IRR is the internal rate of return, is the discount rate that makes the net present value of an investment 0. So it presents the expected annual return of an investment. So IRR is the discount rate that makes the net present value of an investment 0. So here net present value is equal to 0. Then it represents the expected um, annual growth return, nor sorry, or of an investment. So internal rate of return is the discounting rate that makes the net present value of an investment 0. And the formula for solving R, that is the uh, R. So here 0 is equal to sigma Ct by 1 plus IRR power of T minus C naught. So this is the formula we are going to apply the internal rate of return. So let's see that what is the decision rule here. So internal rate of return, if IRR is greater than the required return, we can accept the investment. That means if you're going to expecting certain things, then we can expect, for example, we're going to expect 10%, that is the internal rate of return, sorry, investment return. So then you can apply the internal rate of return. So how much that is going to be there, 10%, 20%, 30%, it depends upon that. Then we are going to accept in the investment. For example, if IR is equal to less than required return, then we can simply, we are going to rejecting the high, no, for example, if an investment requires about 1 lakh and generates a cash flow of 30,000 for 5 years, the IRR helps determine if it is worth investing, because every year you are going to getting 30,000 means in a 5 years you are going to getting 1,50,000. So how much you invested? 1 lakh rupees. So here the IRR is equal to 30,000 per month is not a sufficient. It's more than this sufficient, because we are going to getting more than rupees as a investment decisions. Now payback period and simple and discount methods also is there. So the payback period measures how long it takes to recover the initial investment. So, for example, you have invested 1 lakh rupees in particular company, particular corporate company. Then so there is a discount rate. Payback period is called. Now formula also is there. There is a payback period. Payback period is called initial investment by annual cash cash inflow. So what is our payback period here? So the payback period measures how long it takes to recover the initial investment. For example, you invested 1 lakh rupees today. How many years you are going to recovering your total investment? That is a payback period. So there is a formula is that payback period is called initial investment by annual cash inflows. So how much you invested and what is the annual cash flows. So now discounted payback period is called, it considers time value of money by discounting future cash flows before calculating the payback period. So decision is that choose investment with a shorter payback period, not for long term. Maybe up to 5 years is considerable or acceptable. Beyond that, you don't consider and you don't choose that kind of payment options. Profitability index, PA. Profitability index helps compare investment projects by showing the return per 1 rupee invested. So that is the formula is there. Profitability index is equal to PV of present value of future cash flows divided by initial investment. So here the decision is that if P1 is equal to greater than 1, the investment is profitable. The P2 is equal to greater than 1. The investment is not viable. So if you're going to, that is less than the, that is if less than is that, then there is completely returns. So that means less than means that in the company is not going to giving any returns. So that person has to wait until otherwise some problems may be occur in the profitability index. Now we can see the example of investment comparisons. Here we can see that investment initials, cash flows, net present value, IRR, and payback period. We have three categories are there. That is investment A, investment B. So initial investment in A project is that if you are going to investing 50,000 rupees as initial investment, what is the cash flows per year? 12,000 per 5 years. Per year you are going to getting 12,000. For how many years? 5,000 5 years in a project A. In the project B, that is going to be there. That is, but it is going to give me 5 years per year. That is a cash flow, cash inflows. We are going to getting 5 years per 12,000 or 15,000 and project A, project B. So net present value is 4,000 in project value, but in the case of project B is equal to net present value is 7,500 rupees. So internal rate of return is equal to about 10.5% of that what we have invested money. So 10.5 is one person just ask that how that person is going to investing money in a different portfolios. So project A, project B, which is going to giving high returns and how to investment decisions. So here the payback period is 2 years only. It's a 4 years only. Even though the person are going to interest in investing money, or else investment is completely wide. But in the case of project B, we have 50,000 rupees, and every year we're going to getting 15,000 rupees for 5 years, and 7,500 rupees. That is a 12%. 12% internal rate of return is going to be there, and based on that 3.8 lakhs. Sorry, 2.5, 2.8. That means for 3 years 8 months. The above one is the 4 years 2 months. So how we are going to investing money in a different formulas. Now, what is the decision rule or decision making process? So if we prioritize net present value and IRR, project B is better investment. Out of that, which one is the highest investment categories? So NPV, net present value, and IRR giving more returns than the investment decisions. Now, what is the conclusion? So investment decisions should be based upon the net present value. Net present value, nothing but is a profitability. How much we are going to getting as a profit, how much we have invested, how much we got how much profit is going to be there in the net profit. So net profit, not net present value of the particular asset. So today if you are investing, how much you got after the end of the particular project time. And internal rate of return, that is expected return, how much we are going to investing money. For example, which is giving high returns, which gives a highest expected returns. So in this case, you can see the project B, IRR is 12.8% is going to given by project B, because that is lesser than that is higher than the project A in terms of interest. The same way, return in cash also, we are going to getting 7,500 rupees. In terms of internal rate, even time also is less than the project A. So that is the reason project B is better investment option. So we can see also expected returns and payback period. So risk assessment, how much is going to be risky is there. Let's see, if you are going to investing money in a project A, we are going to getting after 4.2 years, we have to wait to get our investment money. But in the case of project B, what is going to happening within 3.8 years? That means almost 4 and 6 months uh, time. 6 months. 6 months of time is lesser than the project B. So in the project B, almost all are good, because in terms of net present value, in terms of internal rate of return, and in terms of payback period. So whether we are going to understanding or not. So whether that person is only investing or not. So depends upon that whether we have to check it out. And decision. If you prioritize the VPN, it's a net present value and internal rate of return here, and project B is a better statement that is given by statement, because that has to do with even the daughters. But problem is that how that investment is going to be going. So any company is a parent, and investments are the sons or daughters of the particular company. So that's the reason, if they want to grow, the company also will grow. So as a investment manager, how you are going to taking that investment options. So if you are going to investing, you're going to taking that proper decisions, then we never ever lose our investment. So that's the reason we have to analyze the investment process and the payback and the profitability index PA. Probability index is not relatively comparison. So which gives the maximum profit or else minimum profit, and how many years we are going to calculate. So profitability index nothing but that is relatively comparison of the particular years, particular investment, particular interest rates. All together, all is that is going to be calculating to the individuals. So as an individual, that person must understand about the investment decisions, and that should be based upon the net present value, internal rate of return, and expected payback, and also risk assessment. Profitability is going to be there. So once we have a glance about the what is the investment evaluation process. So investment evaluation process, nothing but we have some techniques are there. That is the discounted cash flow. Again, we have discounted, we have traditional discounts also is there. In the tomorrow class, we will discuss about that. What are the traditional discount or modern techniques are there that we will discuss in the next class. So traditional, modern, and these kind of things we are going to discussing. So NPV, net present value, is completely about the explain about the profitability of the particular company. Now we have our decision rules that when we have to accept, when we have to reject, and when we have to hold it fire, because if there is a losses are there or lose are there. So what is the charges to get it? So depends upon that we are there, that is going to be acceptable or rejectable. So internal rate of return. So internal rate of return, nothing but when we are going to expecting that expecting the returns. So how much we are going to getting by applying the project A and project B. If you have example, you are going to running on particular business operations. If you have invested project certain money in project A with 1 lakh rupees, if you are going to same thing, we are going to, if you are investing in the project B also, same investment, same thing. But here the sale depends upon which company is going to be giving more sales to the investors. So company always thinks about that which project is going to be giving high returns, which project has a high network and net worth of the projects. So here any two projects are going to whether that company is going to giving good results or not, these things. And the decision rule also is there for internal rate of return. So there is a two type of decision rules are there. So that is what is the return, required return. Then we are going to accept in the investment. Versus is going to, if the investment requirement is there, if we are going to rejecting, then means nobody is going to harming the particular organization. And example, Example, if an investment requires, so investment is rises 10,000 rupees. So if an investment requires 1 lakh rupees and generates the cash flows of 30,000 per year for 5 years, then how you are going to feeling? Because here you are going to getting almost 50,000 rupees is the profit in this car. That is the expected return. So we can see which is going to be giving more returns or not by comparing with the 2 or more pairs. Now the another thing is a playback period. That is simple and discounted. So the payback period measures how long it takes to recover the initial investment. So there is a formula for simple payback period. There is a simple payback. That is payback is initial investment by annual cash inflows, and also discount payback. It consists the time value of money by discounting future cash flows before calculating the payback period. And also decision rules is there. So we have that investment with a short-term payback period. So for short-term purpose, we are going to using that payback period. Now, profitability index. Here the PA is it helps to compare investment products by showing returns per rupee invested, how much you invested today. So if that is greater than 1 or greater less than the 1, in those cases we are going to accepting or rejecting the investment, because if you're investing means you have to get the profit, otherwise that should not be viable. So the reason we have to accept or reject the profitability index by applying this formula. So in this simple table, we can understand that the investment comparison. So we have a 2 types of investment categories are there. That is the project A, project B. Project A has invested 50,000 rupees, and that gives the 12,000 rupees per year as a for 5 years. So 12,000 per year into 5 years, almost 60,000 you're going to getting. Okay, so you invested how much? 50,000. So 50,000 out of 60,000 means you have 10,000 rupees also in profit is there. But in the case of part B, you have invested 50,000 rupees, you are going to getting the 75,000 rupees. That means is more than the project A. So in this way, we have to calculate which asset project is going to be giving the more returns. So in how many years we are going to recovering, that is a payback period. That is a short term. In the payback generally, the shorter period of the time you are going to calculate it. So 3.8 is time. That means 3 years, 8 months. Even internal rate of return also we are considering internal rate of return also is going to giving 12.8%. Then we have to consider that in terms of IRRs also important, and profit, net profit also. Net present value we are calculating only profit. Here the 7,000 rupees, 500 rupees, 7,500 rupees is a profit in the net present value. So in the case of project A, we have only 4,000 rupees. So altogether, when you're comparing all dimensions, we are going to prioritize the net present value, internal rate of return, and the project B is better investment for the investors. Now these are the this concept today. So tomorrow we will come with some other concepts. So now I'm going to stopping. We will meet in the next class tomorrow.